This is Owen Tippett, and you're listening to the Sheriff Podcast.
Welcome, everybody, to an exclusive episode of The Sheriff. Guys, tonight I am blessed with the guy. This guy that I have tonight is a gentleman that I've actually looked up to for a very long time. He's the type of story that I love telling because he was an underdog and he came out on top. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, the Trevor Gillies. How are you doing tonight, my friend?
I'm doing good, Big Mac. I'm doing good, Mo. No, life's blessed, man. Blessed and unstoppable, I like to fucking say. So, no, things are good. I'm happy we finally connected. You know, we're both busy. You've had a lot of great guests. I listen to a lot of them that you send me. And, man, I'm honored to be on your show, brother. You're a fucking warrior. So happy to chop it up with another fellow warrior.
Well, dude, I'm really glad to hear that because I feel the exact same way, bro. I love having guests on that are close to my age, that played the role. And you, Trevor, I looked up to you, buddy, since way before I heard the stories from Sully, way before any of that. And to be honest with you, we both played for the Oshawa Generals, so it even goes way back to that point, bro. You know what I mean?
I love my time in the Dirty Schwa, man. I had amazing billets, two different billet families the 2 years I was there. And man, just like you, I love the OHL. So, you know, I didn't really even know what the fuck it was, man. Like growing up, you just want to play at the highest level you can, just like you know, me and you were playing probably big leaders on the team, probably not the best players on the squad, but, you know, big and physical. And, you know, we both could skate. We both probably did very, very well in AAA, which we did, or we wouldn't have went on. But, you know, I went to that under 17 shit in Canada, and the guys who made it from the final camp were both studs. You'll know the names. One of them's an NHL coach, Mike Van Ryn. He's a stud defenseman. Brian Campbell, you know, he played with Thornton in that Elgin Middlesex, I think they were called, something Chiefs or something. You know, so like there was guys like that made the squad. So I went, you know, made it to the final camp, but never made the team, obviously. And so that's how I got recruited. So I kind of got held back in my hometown, Cambridge Junior B, with the Winterhawks. The Winterhawks would always go after these like Sault Ste. Marie boys or Sudbury or whatever. And they kind of looked over the hometown talent. So I had a hell of a camp at 14, some just playing my game. I mean, didn't really fight a lot back then. You know, you don't really know much about it. But I'm a lefty. So, you know, the way I play, I was a better hitter than anything, always. And so I was blowing up guys in camp at 14 years old. And all of a sudden some fucking guy comes by and wants to go. I'm allowed to swear on the show, right?
Of course. Go ahead, brother.
Well, I mean, whatever. So, and I'm drinking these fruity drinks. If anyone wants to chirp me, that's okay, because that's all we got in the house. You know, it's hard to keep it in the house with Mrs. Good. At our boxed wine. By the time the week comes, I don't stock it. So I get recruited by Caledon Canadians, and
yes,
I didn't know who they were. I just knew that, you know, I knew Stratford Culletons, you know, all the teams in the Midwestern Junior B, and because that's where I lived, that's what I grew up watching. And so when they cut me the next year, I was like getting ready to go to camp, you know, like, you know, I'm training all summer, just like we're all of us were doing. And my pops goes, I'm like, Dad, they got the rookie camp coming up for the Winterhawks. I was like, it's on these days. Because I have an unreal mom and dad, like very supportive. You know, took a second mortgage on the fucking house in Cambridge so we could have the best gear, and, you know, we're middle class. So me and my brother could have a chance to do something. And so my pops goes, he's a savage. He goes, you're not going to that fucking camp. And I looked at him. I said, what do you mean? I was like, I'm not going to play midget. Like, I played major band the year before. My own age. My brother played up. My brother was a stud. Way smaller than me, but he had all the talent. I didn't have the talent. Couldn't put the puck in the ocean at the pro level. And so, you know the deal. And so I go, Dad, like, I'm not playing junior C and I'm not playing midget. So like I got to go to Winterhawks tryouts, you know. And he goes, "You're not fucking going." And I said, "Okay." He goes, "Why's that?" He goes, and then he gives me the envelopes that they've been getting in the mail. And he goes, well, "These are the teams you're going to go to." And I said, "Well, that's cool. I'll go to any of them." I said, "But what is this? What is this? What is this?" He said, "Well, I've already done the research, and the only way that you can skip playing junior B, because they own your rights. They've owned your rights since you were young. You know how that is. They own like a card or whatever the fuck it is." And so he said, if you go to tier 2, it's considered a higher level, so you can leave your hometown. They can't say anything. So I said, all right. I was like, let's go do this. So I go to rookie camp, and it's in Toronto. Remember those like double rinks and shit? I forget what they're called. You probably grew up playing them. Westwood, Chestwood, whatever the fuck they are. And
Chestwood and Westwood.
Yeah, so you know we have camp there, like rookie camp. And my buddy, who I don't talk to that much anymore, but you know, we were close. Andrew Peters, longtime NHL heavyweight. He was young. You know, I'm 15 or something like that. He's like 14, 15. You were chopping up. Is the service good?
Yeah, I'm good. Are you okay right now?
Yeah, I'm fine. So it just froze. So we go to camp, and I don't know who he is. He doesn't know who I am. We're both just running. We're big boys running around. You know the deal. I don't know anyone on the fucking ice. Like, I'm not from Toronto. I'm from Little Cambridge, which I love my hometown, but it's not a destination spot on the map, you know? Great people, but not a destination spot. So I go to camp, and I'm running around, and all of a sudden this big guy, like he's hitting. It turns out it's Andrew Peters. So then we have a dust up, and you know, it went pretty well. And then we both make the squad. So we become buddies, and you know, he didn't play the whole year with us, but we know Brandon Brooks was on that squad, who's one of my best friends. He played like 22 years pro, real fast, one of the best skaters. Like, you can truck him too if you look him up. He fought Rick Rippon, great fight. And he's a good buddy of mine, one of my groomsmen. And so a lot of history with him. So we both make the team. We have a couple other young cats like Simonelli and Matt Zaltek was a forward. He went high. He was a second rounder to the O and then 15th overall to the NHL. So anyway, there's only a few young guys, and then the whole team's like 19, 20-year-olds. And you know, Dana Zubris was on our squad halfway through. We won the whole thing. We had like 9 guys go full Division I scholarship, and a bunch of us go to the O. It was just a hell of a time. But you know, that's kind of how it all happened, man. It just kind of started there, and you know, didn't really know a whole lot about fighting, but the way I played, I mean, all of a sudden, then you got this dude that had like 300 plus minutes in Thornhill, and I'm hitting their top star player, and he comes over, he goes, "Let's fucking go, kid." You know, and you're like, you don't turn anyone down. So I'm like, all right. And then he just jumps me. And I played with a guy named Roger Maxwell. You know Big Raj?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so Raj was a 20-year-old, and I was a 15-year-old, and he was amazing to me, man. I love that fucker. So, you know, he worked with me on some shit, and he was the top dog in the league. I mean, we called him Buddha. He's a fucking badass. And he was smashing guys, you know? And so, but the way I played, I had to fight the guys that he fought, you know? But it was great for me because I was 15. So, you know, you're fighting more out of like, you know, I could chuck bombs down the pipe. I'm left-handed and just standing in the pocket. You know how it was back then. You just tuck the chin and you're going at it. There's not like a whole lot of moving away from power, cross grabs, defense. It wasn't that style back then. It was like, all right, let's stand here and see who's tougher. So, you know, it goes real well. And Greg Ireland calls me. I fight this really tough dude. I can't remember his name. He had a weird name. If you look him up, he'll pop right up. He had like 300-something minutes in Thornhill.
Okay.
Something like that. And I could look it up. But anyway, the dude jumped me, ripped my bucket off, and we have a hell of a fight. I do really well, but I'm bleeding. Like, he cut me. He cut me on the top of my head. And so, yeah, I was fucking pissed about it. And so we win the game. We were a sick team. We won the whole thing. And so coach calls me in the office, Greg Ireland. You probably heard of him.
Oh, yes.
He coached American League. Great
big
guy.
names here, man.
Yeah, I love Greg. And so, like, you know, I'm a 15-year-old kid living away from home with billets and shit. And some of my best friends, one of them died, but some of them are still in Bolton, you know, like we live in Little Bolton, this cool little town, great party town. And I get called in the office. And, you know, that's never a good thing when you're a guy in our role. You know, you always think the worst. And so I'm looking at Greg. I'm not saying a whole lot. He goes, "Hey, Gilly." And I'm like, "Hey, coach, what's up?" You know, thinking something bad's going to happen here. Like maybe he's sending me back home or whatever, or something's wrong with my grades. You know, the fucking deal. And so I look across, baby-faced assassin. You know, I don't have any facial hair. I'm like a kid. and always had big legs and ass, but like kind of skinny, long and rangy, not as long as you though, big boy. And so he goes to me, he goes, hey Gilly, he's like, how you doing, kid? I said, coach, not bad. And he goes, well, what'd you think of that fight last night? And I kind of go, coach, I don't know. I mean, I did all right. I could have done better. He goes, you fucking kidding me, kid? He goes, besides big Buddha, he goes, besides Big Raj, he's like, that's the toughest guy in the league. He's like, you did fucking incredible. And I said, oh, okay. I'm like, I had no idea, coach. It's not like there's YouTube and dropyourgloves.com and
None of that.
hockeyfights.com. There's no studying. I mean, it's like not even a packet back then. Like, not even game notes. I mean, you just don't know. You're like, okay, well, this guy's got a weird number. He's 240. You can see how big they are. He's like, it's hard to tell. Gonna be a moron and not figure it out. And so he goes, I got one question for you, Gilly. And I said, well, what's that, coach? I'm thinking I'm in shit. Because now he's reassured me that I did amazing. And he goes, I got one question for you, Gilly. He goes, did you like it? And I said, oh, coach, I got all excited. I go, oh, coach, I fucking loved it. I go, I wish I would have won, but he goes, shut up. You like it? I said, I love it. And he goes, the boys love you. He's like, they respect you. He's like, you're tough as nails, kid. He's like, can you promise me? This is at the beginning of the year. He goes, can you promise me that you do that night in and night out? He's like, play the same way. He's like, fight anyone, win or lose. He's like, hit everything that moves. Can you play that same way? Be an asshole in front of the net, kill penalties, just regular shit. I didn't play power play. He's like, and I said, well, I'll sure be giving her, coach. He said, all right, kid. He's like, keep going. So before I leave the office, he goes, oh, one sec. He rolls out his fucking drawer. He pulls out this packet. It's just paper stapled. And I'm like, don't say anything. And I'm like looking at him, you're a kid, you're trying to like, be a good listener, not say anything. The first person to speak loses. So he goes, Gilly, he goes, you ever heard of the Ontario Hockey League? And I said, yeah. I said, that's like the Kitchener Rangers and Guelph Storm. I only knew a few teams like close, right? Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds I knew, just from Chris Simon and fucking all those guys, Wayne Gretzky and them. And so when they won a Memorial Cup. And so I go, yeah, coach. And he goes, all right. He goes, well, Gilly, he goes, this is a draft list here. He goes, it's a pre-draft list. He goes, it doesn't include the Europeans. He goes, but it's, some Americans, but mainly all Ontario boys. And I said, oh, cool. I don't fucking know a clue. And he goes, kid, if you like it, he goes, don't change what you're doing. He goes, right now you're a AA player. They didn't have it by rounds. It's like AA, A, and it goes up and down. Depending on those letters determines what round. So it was like I was like rated going to be like first or like end of the first, more to third round. And it turned out, I got drafted 19th overall with the talent I got because we got so highly recruited, our team, because we were so good. You know how it is, play for a winner, you get seen. And Dana Zubris, every night, Dana Zubris played 22 years in the fucking NHL, probably something like that. And
At least,
I mean, the guy looked like Ivan Drago, dude. I mean, he looked like when you go to the doctor and you see the bone chart and the muscle chart with no skin. I mean, he looked like that. He's an absolute specimen at fucking, so 18. And there was like 30 NHL scouts and 30 OHL, whatever, 20 something, whatever the amount of teams there was in the OHL every single night. So yeah, that's kind of how it started, man. I mean, I always fought as a kid, bigger kids want to fuck with me, and my dad's mentality was, hey, you don't ever start it, but you finish it. If they fuck around, they lay around. And so, you have a ton of those, but you don't really do it on the ice because you're not really allowed. Summer hockey tournaments, maybe in AAA coming up, those are more, pretty wild. But, so it's just something that like from then on, you know how it is. Once you start doing it and doing well, you're kind of branded. So, I got drafted to the OHL to be a fighter and just, try to grow the box. And the deal, it's a long process trying to get better on talent and work on that. And, I just truly loved every minute of my job. I can't stand listening to the fucking pigeons that, are doing whatever they're doing. We're not going to name names. It's not my style, but dude, I miss it, man. I miss it. Like I miss that adrenaline rush. I miss doing it for the right reasons and the team and fighting on the crest on the front, the name on the back. But no, man, I miss it. I mean, I miss it daily. And I'm doing just fine after hockey, but I do miss it. I loved it.
Yeah, no, I hear you, brother. And like, I'm glad that we're actually talking about this time right here in the OHL, because that's exactly kind of where I had a couple of questions. Now, obviously there was North Bay, Trev, there was Sarnia, but like the Gens was really where you
Oh
came into
yeah,
your own, bro.
love it there.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned your billets before. I know how big of a deal that is, brother, especially in major junior. If you have good billets, man, and you're on a good squad that's giving you an opportunity, there's a golden chance that you're going to be successful. Obviously, that's what happened with you. When you first got there, you did well. But the second year, bro, you turned it right up, man. I want to hear about that year, bro. Tell me about the billets, man. What kind of family was it, brother?
So, Joan Wilton and her husband, she ran like this little shop, so probably when you were there too. So sold all the Generals merchandise and merch and stuff like that. Great lady. Lived with them and they had two sons around my age, but just, great people, fed me amazing. And then the next year I went to the Hodgsons and I'm still very close with the daughter and the mom and they had a son. I called him Cartman. Um, his name's Mark Hodgson, Danielle. Just a great family, man. I think TJ Reynolds lived with him after me. He was a young guy. TJ's a buddy of mine. He was just a tough young fucker.
Yeah.
But what a team we had, man. Like we didn't win it or nothing, but like Kevin Colley, 100 and something points. Chuck's left bombs. I mean, the guy's tough as nails for a skilled guy. Made the NHL, broke his damn neck. You know the deal.
Yeah.
Calls was a stud OHLer. We had guys like tough dudes like Brandon Coulter, Dickie Scott played in the NHL. He's a heavyweight. Yep. He had a concussion and had to stop. But overage rookie, tough as nails, one of the toughest in the league. Me, Andrew Peters. I mean, Brandon Cullen was a good player. It was really tough. I mean, just
you guys were a tough
the whole team,
man.
And then we just had like some really good players too. Like Dan Hineout, you guys, won a Stanley Cup. He's ripped up like a bad report card. I mean, you dump the fucking puck in, it's not going to be icing. He's going to beat the D. I mean, he was fast as shit. We just a fun team. Tyrone Garner and net, just great
really?
guy. Yeah, Ty was awesome. He's just Derek Dolson was our backup, young guy. I mean, just like a fun fucking team. Brian Allen, I call him Kush. If you watch movies, Brian Allen was a stud player. Played forever in the NHL. I mean, just my defense partner was all talent and I was all meat, protecting him. As long as I was on a 45, if I had the puck, if I didn't have a play, he'd always be there on a 45, pick it up. Just his name was Jim Baxter, just very talented, very offensive. Besides Brian Campbell, it was always him, Campbell, like fighting for the defense scoring in the league. We had Jeff McMillan and Brian Allen were our first D pairing. Me and Jimmy were second. We just, then we had Jason Maleko, who was tough. Ilya Demidov, that rounded out our top six at D. It was just such a fun team and just a great city. I mean, you've probably been to good old $1 billion saloon back in the day. Had a lot of wild times in there with some of the boys. And back then not concussion, but curfew protocol was a little lax. So we had a lot of good times in that town, let's just say. Sometimes getting a little trouble with the billets, but they were great. So still really good friends with them. I don't talk to the one family as much, it's life, but still, couple of good messages back and forth with the Hodgson family. I absolutely love my time with the Jennies, man. It's just I never got to play in the new barn, but in the old barn, just such a great place.
Yes, no, 100%. I played in the old barn as well. I was just there a couple years after you, Trev, right? But the reason why I was asking,
Shano, what age are you?
I'm in 82, so I'm only 3 years away.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, so we missed each other so when I went to pro and bang it out in the coast, you were a rookie, I think.
My last couple of years, yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, buddy.
So you played on a few teams, right?
Yeah, I bounced around a little bit. Like Oshawa was my last stopping ground.
Yeah, that's what we do, man. That's what people don't realize, right? They look at like all the teams we play on, but the way I look at it is if I'm not getting an opportunity, we want to go where we're going to get to play. And it was such a commodity. I mean, like it was a huge part of the game that we were highly sought after. teams want us because we fucking look after the talent, so the good guys can win, and we fill this fucking stadium, dude. I mean, junior hockey's big business. Look at London. I mean, those boys, the what are their names?
Hunters.
The Hunters are making a ton of money, man. I mean, like, it's a fucking factory. I mean, you barely pay the players anything, and it's amazing hockey, and it's big business. I mean, it's the real deal. That league is fucking sick. At least back in the day. I haven't gotten to watch it in a long time living down here in the South, but
yeah,
great memories,
really,
man. Great memories. I wouldn't trade it for the world.
Yeah, brother. And like I had Mark Hunter as a special guest on this show as well, Gil.
Oh,
and,
yeah?
And man, he's just loving it in London, man, and he's doing such a good job. So like I it was a really fun time talking about that. But dude, so what I'm about to bring up now, Trev, is what I find is most important for this episode, okay? Now, you're a guy that really put in your work, bro. You grinded in the toughest era, in my opinion, okay, in the AHL and the coast, okay, buddy? You grinded it out for 5 full seasons, but before you were actually given that NHL shot, right? So, bro, Mississippi Seawolves, okay? Greensboro Generals, okay? Let's go to that year. Now, buddy, you're telling me that you played almost every single game that season, okay? Close to it, right? You put up 300 PIMs, Gills, okay? And you're in your early 20s, bro. Yeah, what was that like? Do you remember that season?
My rookie year or my second year?
Your second year.
So my second year, I remember vividly, brother. I got to play for an absolute legend in can you hear me good with this mic? I think this usually works better. So I played for an absolute legend in Jeff Brubaker, who I'm still in touch with.
Whoa.
Brew, Brew's one of the last heavyweights with no fucking helmet on, bro. He's a savage.
Yeah.
And this is a good story about Brew. So we weren't the best squad, right? Like, our record was pretty bad. But we had a real tough team. We had some good talent, but Jason Robinson's on the squad, Mike Perna, Mike Scroy came during that year. Me and him are very good buddies. We're brothers. I mean, I was one of his best men, and he was, one of my best men too in our weddings. But we're very close.
The real
deal, baby. He is. He's my boy. He's a fucking savage. And we had a guy, Chris Waltz, on the squad, who's a client of mine. He has a big salon. We'll get into that later.
Yeah.
But anyway, just a fucking pretty fun town. And playing for Brew, man, he came in, we were losing one night like 4-1. And I don't like losing. I mean, you show me a good loser, I'll show you a loser. That's my mentality. So, back the way me and you are wired. I mean, and anyone else that is in our role, you get down 4-5-1. I mean, it's go time. I want to get my pound of flesh and let them know we're not going to be walked over. You're not going to celebrate after fucking goals in our barn. And, otherwise we're going to have to dance. The two heavies the two battleships, the two nuclear weapons are going to go at it and make sure that the rest of the boys know if you fuck around, this is going to happen to you. So, I went out and did my deal. And so I have a hell of a fight. I can't remember who it was against. I mean, I fought all the time. It's not like I was scoring. So, we come back in after the intermission, and Brew addresses the team, right? And we're getting fucking pounded, so no one's sitting there happy and smiling. He comes in, and he goes to the boys, he goes, fucking what? And he losing his mind. And I just sit there, baby-faced assassin. I got my hand in the fucking double bubble bucket with tons of ice and water, just like, it is, getting ready so you can hopefully hold your damn stick. Punch in the face contest like a couple minutes before. And he goes to me, he doesn't say it to me, he just doesn't even look at me, just talking to the whole team. He goes, you know why I play the fucking hammer every fucking night? Because he called me the Hammer. It was the only time I was ever called the Hammer. And he called me the Hammer. I don't know. It never stuck with any other teams. I've always been the Gill Train or the Wild Man or whatever. And so he goes, I play the fucking hammer every fucking night. He goes, because he gives me a bucket of blood every fucking night. He goes, you better start fucking playing like men. You're playing like a bunch of pussies. And then he walked the fuck out. That was the whole talk. And I still fuck with him about it all the time. I go, hey, Brew, you remember that talk he gave the team, the pump up talk? But he was an absolute blast to play for, bro. I mean, just old school, like you work hard, like you didn't give a fuck what you did off the ice. Like I can appreciate that because I was kind of wild at the time. And so, show up to work. I mean, regardless, go get a sweat in the morning if you went out drinking. Fucking make sure you don't smell like a bunch of booze. And even if you do, as long as you're making tape plays and practice and not fucking up drills. I mean, he was a fucking blast to play for. He treated us like we were, treated us like men, old school. And when we needed it, line up and you do the work, pull the nets off the ice, couple trash cans, and the deal there. So, I loved it, man. That was a fun year. My roommate was Jason Robinson. Good dude.
Right on.
Tough cat. He's I think a pretty high pick to. Don't quote me on it, but I think Tampa. I'm clearing some cobwebs here, man. It's a long time ago, but that was a fun year. That was 2000.
You're doing pretty good, man.
Thanks, bro. Bunches aren't vitamins, but I feel like I'm pretty sharp. I like CBD and some other stuff. It is what it is, and I feel like I'm fully healed. I feel amazing. My mind still feels like I could go play again, but unfortunately, the body and Father Time catches up to us all.
Exactly, buddy. And so now, Gills, like just going along with this time here, I know that your roots are in Augusta right now, right?
That was my third year. I came here in my third year.
Yeah. So I want to jump to Augusta. I know that there's got to be some stories here, bro, because you decided to come back to Augusta, right? So what was that year for you like playing in Georgia, bro? Like, it's nothing like it.
Dude, I love it here, man. I mean, it's the cost of living, the people. It's if you like fishing and hunting, it's some of the best. Just you're close to Hilton Head, Savannah, Charleston. If you want big city shit, you got Atlanta, you got Charlotte. I mean, we don't get storms because we're inland. It's just a great fucking place, and it's exploding with cyber and all this other stuff. But to get to the hockey side of it, I played for an unbelievable man named Jim Burton. He's no longer with us. I'm very close with the family. Yeah. I used to play mini hockey with his sons and stuff. Ryan, Rye Guy, we call him. He works for my buddy Ray Carnes at Rec Tech. I'm rocking his shirt right now. So you probably see the bull here.
Nice.
Rec Tech Grills. Go get you one. Pellet grills, baby. The best on the planet. So Ryan works for Rec Tech, and then his other son is on one of the, like us playing in the AHL or whatever. He's like on a pro golf tour, and his name's Kelby. Yep. Great people. His mom's the mom's Sandra. And so Jimmy, what people don't know is Jimmy grew up playing with Wayne. So Jimmy played with Gretter and from Brantford, Ontario. I'm from Cambridge. So how this connection happened was he was watching the hometown kid in Jim Baxter, who is my defense partner with the Jennies. So, it's small world, okay. The deal. It comes full circle. So he's scouting Jimmy, and we're partners, and we were total opposite players, but we were great together. It's like one of those things. And so I get calls in the summer, a bunch of different teams, PD Pride. There was a bunch of teams, right? The deal. It's like the coast. So it's like the way I looked at it is if I'm on an AHL two-way or I'm in the coast and I had a good year, what they try to do is they used to try to lowball guys like us. So they think we made too much money for our role. And I wasn't doing that. Like, I'm trying to make more money. And if it's not more money, I'll take less money if it's a better opportunity to get to the next step on the ladder, which is to the fucking American League. When you're a non-drafted guy, you got to get to the American League. And so when they try to do that shit to me, because they knew I had a girlfriend wherever or whatever, I'd be like, kind of like almost like beat it. Like, I'd tell my agent, like, it's not like you're on a 3-year NHL deal. Like, you can go wherever you want. So that's what I did. And every year, if I didn't get the certain amount of games that I had in my head, which I was never hitting, what I knew it was going to take to get an AHL one way, because you have to have a certain sample size in the top league besides the NHL, where you're fighting all the top guys to get established. Otherwise, you're never going to get an AHL one way. You're going to be on the two ways, and then you can only go up to that one team. So I was on an AHL two-way my first year with Biloxi, Mississippi, and Lowell, and got some time. And then after that, I was like, I'm not signing these fucking things. You're limited. You get pigeonholed. So any kids out there like thinking it's a good play, it's not. Go dominate, and then be able to have 30 of them looking at you. And so, went to Greensboro and then got the call up for the later at the end of the year playoffs. And then I came here. And the reason why I came here is because of Jimmy. So Jimmy Burton recruited Jimmy Baxter, and then he called Jimmy, told him about me, and he already knew about me. So they offered us both deals. And before I signed, I said, "Are you signing this?" And he said, "If you do," he's like, "we're going to get to be partners." I said, "If you fucking make sure, I'm in." And so that's what we did. We signed the exact same time and came down here, man. It was like absolutely crazy arena. Now it's called the James Brown. They're going to tear it down and build a new one here shortly.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And we're hoping we can get hockey back here, but that's another tale. But that arena, man, was like the fans are right on top of you. It was sold the fuck out every night. I mean, just, it was incredible, man. They love the guys like us. So it was just a fun place to play. There was a different, you're young and dumb back then. So like there was a badass bar to go to every single night. I could name off the Monday all the way for you if you wanted. Just a fun town. But so this is the best story of all. This is why I'm here. So we're in training camp, and there's this guy behind me. He still lives here. He's a buddy of mine. And he kind of a homebody. He's a hermit. He kind of stays inside, so don't see him a lot. But great guy. He was a really good player when he played. And he played in the World Juniors back in the day, won gold. I think Todd Harvey and all those boys were on the squad. His name's Wes Swinson. And so Swinner was behind me. And we're getting, the team, you know how it is in the coast. I mean, we're bringing bodies just like they do to NHL camp, warm bodies. And if someone really impressed, okay, maybe they get a little shot, they get a couple exhibition games, whatever it is. But in the coast, the team's pretty much fucking concrete, man. We got some other guys that like might be sent some to another team or their call ups, and now there's the SPHL, so you can call from there. But back then, I mean, you really had the U-Haul, the Whipple. I mean, some of these other places where we might be able to pull some players are college kids at the end of the year, just like every league. But really, the team's kind of made going in, right? So, at the end, we're doing condition skate. And it's not crazy. It's not like we're doing Wallies or mountains or none of that shit. The hockey people that are listening know what we're talking about. The others, you can get. But so we're doing a drill where you come up and you either stop and start, or they'll let you, if you're a D man, like I was at the time. And I think you played D as well. So then you come up and you pivot. And
I did.
And you go back and you open up and you pivot. I'm pretty educated on my other fellow fighters. I follow them all. I watched Timu Solani fight, for fuck's sakes. I watched every fight. Anyone who fought, I watched. So I knew about you too, brother. And you were doing great. And you also skipped the East Coast League, the easy come hard leave, I call it. And so I'm kind of showing out because I'm young, right? And I'm new to the team. So I'm trying to bust ass. I'm trying to push myself. And all of a sudden I hear Swinner go, "Hey, Gilly, slow the fuck down, man." He's like, "You're making the vets look bad." So I was like, you know how it is, like stay together in a group, So you're learning this shit as a young kid.
Yeah.
And so then we get over the blue line and the drill's done. And so, Shano, I look in the fucking corner and there's this absolute rocket standing in the corner. And it's my mother-in-law. She's like 44, blonde, beautiful. We won't get into the other adjectives, like just smoke. And all of a sudden there's another one that walks up. And I go to Swinner. I was like, "Hey, Swinner." I was like, "Who the fuck is that, bro?" And he goes, he goes, "Oh, Gilly." He's like, "That's Miss Sue, buddy." He's like, she does corporate sales and marketing and she runs the office. We also get our paychecks from her. I said, "Not Miss Sue, you bah, bah, bah." And I'm like, "Who's the one right beside her that's like looks the exact same but 25 years younger?" He goes, "Oh, that's her daughter, ... Not to advertise my wife to anyone on here, but he's like, "You got no shot, buddy." He's like, "She hates hockey. And she hates hockey players." And so that guys like me and you've been told we weren't going to do shit our whole lives. So please present a challenge to me so I can go after it. And so that's what I did, man. And I started dating her serious like 3 weeks later. And now we've been together 20 fucking years, married 14.
Oh man, that's a beautiful thing right there, brother.
So I
Congratulations,
went pretty
man.
well, but yeah, it was really fun playing here, man. We just had an old squad. I'm not going to name drop a ton of guys, but you can look at the roster. I mean, We had David Wilkie, LaRose. I mean, these guys played in the NHL. We had Zach Burke, his brother Sebastian Bach, Skid Row, played a little bit in the NHL. We had Greg Nemenko, goalie, played a little bit in the NHL. So I mean, there's 4 right there. And then you got like Tyler Willis. This dude is nails, like a little guy. Fight everyone. He's fighting Denny Vial. I mean, he's like scarred all up. This guy's nails. Lance Galbraith, tough fucker, could play.
Galbraith was there.
Then the guy I looked up to, who I love, was Jesse Razanzoff. Tough as nails.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Gizzard, the White Indian.
Wow.
Gizzard. He's a fireman now. He's a great guy. So it's just like a whole, like, just a great squad, man. It was just fun. We really underachieved, to be honest. I'm always going to be brutally honest. On paper, we were sick, but just, it's Augusta. Our coach was an amazing coach, but he was more like laid back, kind of like, probably a little bit better for older squad. We had a lot of young wild men on the team, the deal. And, off ice here was really fun.
Yeah, man, I'm sure it was, Gil.
It was really
Dude,
fun.
I got something I want to ask you about, because I'm
wide open. I'm open book, man. I'll fucking
bro. I've been told this story a few different times from 2 different participants. Okay, so one is Dan Sullivan, the other guy is David Silverstone. I don't know if you remember that name. Okay.
Yeah, I fought him before. A little tough.
Yeah. Dude. So these guys were on Roanoke.
They played for Roanoke Express. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is when they were both on Roanoke. These guys are rookies. Okay, Gil?
Yeah, it was in preseason.
Well, you just got sent down from I think it was Providence, bro, because you were in Richmond. Okay.
Yeah, I was, because I went to Bruins camp. That's a good story too, but. I went to Bruins camp. I finished the year with them in playoffs, and I did well. I got to play some games, and I fought Keith McCambridge in a playoff game. He's a coach now, and I was a kid, but just playing my game. So I was on the bike, man. I think it was that. Maybe not. No, that was a different year. A lot of years. That was
there was a lot of years.
Worcester. So in Providence, I think I played 5 games. You'd have to look it up. And I fought.
You're right on the point.
Okay, now I'm on it. I fought Graham Belak. He probably got a little bit of the better of me in the fight, to be honest. And I fought Martin Grenier, fucking big greener. He's
big
tough.
Boy.
Yeah, like he didn't have fast hands, Greener, but he was just a man child. I mean, like I got mitts, and so I know you do too. I've met you and shook your hand. But this guy's mitts are on a whole nother level. I mean, they're like Steve McIntyre. I mean, they're like fucking cinder blocks. It's like getting hit with a sledgehammer. And so, I'm fighting Greener, and I'm chucking him. I got pretty fast hands, and I'm chucking him, and he tags me with one, dude. Like my eye was so fucked up. So I think I had a couple fights in that 5-game stint, but did the job, did well. But I'm not like I'm dominating those guys. Like I'm still pretty green. Had a lot to learn. So then, in camp, it was really cool for me because I got to meet a guy that I looked up to, and I know you know who he is. Me and him still talk. He just came out with a phenomenal book. His name's Brant Myers. It was tough as fuck.
Oh, yes.
And would have played way longer in the NHL. But, people need to buy his book. It's incredible. But he's an amazing dude. He's helped a lot of people, and he's a great guy. So kind of took me under his wing, going to like Dave and Buster's and shit like that. And the other guy in the camp that was signed, so he obviously Big Brant was on an NHL deal. And then the guy that was signed to be the AHL heavyweight was a guy named Steve Parsons. Big Steve is tough dude. Yeah, Big Pars. And so, yeah, Parsons is a good guy. So, but he's a big cat too. Monster hands, a lot bigger than me and you. I mean, we're kind of like leaner. He's a big cat. And so I know what my fucking job is. You know what I mean? You don't need to. I'm not like I'm there to score goals. I don't think I scored one the year before. So like I know what the fuck I'm there for. So in camp, when you're not signed and you're just there in camp, I mean, you got to make an impression. So I'm like chasing this guy around the ice. Like he'll tell. And I'm like, hey, let's fucking go, Pars. Let's go. He's like, pretty much like, Mizey took me out. It's not like he's dodging me. I'm not saying that at all. Like, but it's his job to lose, right? So like, say he doesn't have a good showing and I catch him or he blows his knee out or, whatever. And then then I get the job, right? It'd be me and Brant, which I would have loved. But it's not in the cards. I mean, everything happens for a reason, and I wasn't ready yet, to be honest. I had to build my body up. I still needed to learn. Everything kind of why I played so long, I truly believe is because I got a lot of time to get seasoned against old vets in the coast. I didn't get thrown into the absolute jungle, which is, the American League. I mean, you were in it right from the start. I mean, it was fucking tough as fucking nails. So I kind of got to, learn. And then when if I did lose one in the coast, it wasn't like devastation. It wasn't like, because every ring you go up, the guys get tougher. So it's not like, okay, boom, I get some guy, I fight a guy and he breaks my orbital bone, shatters my nose, breaks my jaw, and fuck, I get a concussion. My career's over. So like I didn't have none of those things happen. So it's like, it's almost like it was meant to happen. So, I never got the job. I didn't, my Parse didn't need to fight me, and I had a good camp, and then they sent me down, and then I come down to these two young, hungry savages, like I still was too. And dude, they're asking me like at the same time. I mean, it's like, I just come down from the American League, and they're asking me at the same time to go, and I'm like, I can't remember exactly, but I think I was like, holy fuck, like you guys are fucking. And I didn't realize until later on when I played with Sully that they were good buddies.
Yeah.
And so like they grew up together. And so I'm like kind of like, holy fuck, I'm not used to that, So I was like, all right, well, which one do you want it? Kind of deal. And then and they were fucking
That's
hungry,
how we
man.
named our hockey school, brother.
Yeah, I
Come
respect
and get
the
it.
hell.
Come and get it, hockey school.
Yeah, they were excited, bro. They were excited, dude.
Yeah, and you said, come and get it. That's what you said to them. And then Sully's like, Mac, we got to name our hockey school. Come and get it. And then he told me this crazy Trevor Gillies story, right?
Oh, that's funny. I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's what we named their hockey school after, man.
Because I respect both of them a lot. I don't know Silverstone personally, but I love me. We're almost getting to that year where I played with Danny Sullivan. Love that kid, man. He's fucking awesome and had a lot of talent. I mean, he was way better player than me. I think he could have really done something, some injuries and shit like that. But just a solid dude, man. Dad was a hardcore biker. I mean, he's me and him hit it off from fucking day one. I'm like, I love this fucker.
Sully's awesome, man. He really is.
Yeah. So huge shout out to that cat. He's a beauty.
Yeah, big shout out to Dan Sullivan.
Yeah.
And David Silverstone.
Yeah, for sure. That kid's tough, man. He was like smiling at me and shit. I mean, they were both so hungry. I'd like respect the hell out of that. You know what I mean? Like that's just the way it's supposed to be. Like, fuck. I mean, like you go into a fight thinking if you don't think you're gonna win, then you shouldn't be fighting. Like, so I just love that mentality. You know what I mean? That just means they were raised by two absolute wolves. Both their dads were probably wolves.
100%, buddy. So now this is what gets me really excited, bro, when I get to speak to one of my fellow warriors of my era. Bro,
I love that fucking jersey. I love that jersey, by the way, in the back.
Oh yeah,
you did it, brother. You played in the league. It's a hard fucking league to make.
It is, buddy. It sure is.
Especially for guys like us, it's hard.
100%. Trevor Gillies. Let's talk about 2004-2005 lockout season.
Toughest year of hockey. Toughest year of hockey by far. There's not even one comparable.
I agree with you 1,000%, brother. Now, you were on the powerful Hartford Wolfpack, bro. And so now this was when you first got your shot.
I usually don't drink during the week, but in order to talk hockey, because I never talk it down here, I have to have a couple cocktails with you.
No problem.
That's all we got are these fucking things.
Hey, man. Hey, all power to you, Trev. Yeah. So, brother, that was the first opportunity, like NHL wise, right? Like you were under NHL contract that year, even though it was the lockout season, correct?
Yeah. So the year before that, I played for probably your idol too. Many of us growing up's idol, Marty McSorley.
No way.
Yeah, he was our head coach in Springy, and I just love him, man. He was so good. Like we'd be losing. We didn't have a great team. We had good players, but we didn't have a great team. And so he'd come in, we might be losing 4-1. I was fighting, you know the deal. I just already told you that. So you got to do what you do, score, fighters fight, you know the deal. And so he'd come in and be like, Gilly. And I'd be like, okay, coach, like a little puppy. And he's my fucking idol, dude. I watched this guy my whole life. And he's the man. He's the nicest fucking guy. He's big, strong, good-looking motherfucker. He's married to a professional beach volleyball player.
Oh, way.
Leanne. And so anyway, bring me in the other room. I mean, Marty's got a fucking suit on, bro. I mean, he's got a coat and tie on, and he goes, hey, Gilly. He's like, hey, Gilly. He's like, great. And we lock up. I'm in my gear, bro. I don't take half dress or nothing. I stay strapped up. So I'm like, okay. He goes, hey, great fucking fight, Gilly. He goes, hey, try this. He's like teaching me how to like throw the elbow where they hit your elbow, and then they're gonna skim, and then you're down the middle, like wham, you know the deal. And so just like he was incredible to learn from every day. Like he'd wear his shin pads out there. Like he didn't have pants, but he'd wear like a tracksuit with shin pads and elbow pads and gloves. He'd hop into drills. He was still good. With
Really,
the unfortunate incident with Brashear. I mean, Marty was still good, bro. Marty was still good. So like he'd hop in drills and shit. And I'm like looking, I'm like, fuck yeah, look at Marty, man. Like look at Marty McSorley is sick. And so I got to play for him. And the reason why we went there, so I played, my agent was Peter. You probably heard of him. And you had tons of fucking fighters, right? He'll find like that diamond in the rough in the coast that's just hungry, that's just like grinding. There's lots of fun things and stuff in the coast, right? Back in those days, the deal. But the ones who are like truly going to the gym, you can still have your fun, but you got to put the work in. So he'd find those guys, like whether they were skilled players that kind of got overlooked or not drafted for whatever reason. And he's the best. Like he's just one of those agents that like constantly pumps the players and sends out a hot list every week. And so when I played in Lowell the year before, I got to play for Tom Rowe. I loved him. That's when I played with Sully. Yes. I played with Sully later on in Lowell, my second time in Lowell. So, or no, actually, it was that time. It was that time, I think. Yeah. It was that time. And so, I wanted to play. I love Tom. Tom loves guys like us. He's why I got to play so long. He's the one coach who worked with me more than anyone on skill, like tipping pucks, like all the shit. You've done it all. And we need to get into it. But insane amount of one-on-one time. Like everyone else, the old guys are like, I was a call up. So, the league wasn't like they're all buddy. They looked at me like, what? He's going to take our job, Instead they put some European fuck on the fourth line, like fuck off. So, he'd skate me till like time, stopwatch, all that until I puke. So I really wanted to play for Tom again, but that organization, I knew I had no shot to ever get a shot. You know what I mean? It's Carolina. Like they didn't like toughness. So, that's kind of what you look at. I'm always looking for the opportunity. So I told my agent in the summer, I had a deal worth more money with Lowell. It was not like it was a lot by any means. I mean, the deal, fucking $40,000. So I took 37.5 on an AHL one way to go to Springfield. And why we picked Springfield is because Marty McSorley was the head coach and I was the lone gun. You know how hard it is to be the lone gun on a squad? Like I didn't have a supporting cast, bro. I mean, it was
really
me. So I had, I think if you look at it, I think I had 36 fights, 64 games.
Yeah, dude, you had
So I got to fight like I'm fighting PJ Stock. I mean, I'm fighting all the NHL guys you can think of, plus all the tough AHL guys, because I wanted to be the lone gun. I did get a little help at the end of the year, and I got to bring this guy's name up because he's a beauty. Is Billy the Wildman Tibbetts?
Really?
So Billy comes in, and Billy's good, bro. I mean, he's
very good player.
Jacked, and he's jacked, and he taught me a lot, man. Billy was good for me, like, because I was already working out every day. I was a gym rat, just like you. And I know you were. I mean, look at you. You're still ripped up like a bad report card. So, bro. So, so Billy, though, he did a little time, right? He went to the place for a little bit, which was total bullshit. I know all the stories. So Billy's a great guy. It could have happened to any of us. Anyway, we won't get on that. But Billy taught me about like towel. They're called towel pull-ups. Everything was with a towel, which at first I was like, what the fuck are we doing in my head? But I was just like, fuck it. This guy played in the league. I mean, like, he's sick. Look at him. His body's way better than mine. And I hit it every single night from 8 to 10 o'clock at the gym. Like my wife was miserable. We weren't married. She was young. But, all this stuff was totally designed around grip. Grip, as you know, is so important in a fucking hockey fight. In anything, so really. Important. Stick in anything. So everything is to do with full grip, like your full weight holding. Well, now they have training devices for that. They have bigger bars. They got those little things that go on the weights. Remember them? The red
Yeah.
ones, the blue
Oh
ones.
yeah.
Well, back they didn't have that shit. So we're doing all this crazy workouts, and I'm like, I'm getting fucking stronger. I'm like, this guy is a fucking specimen, dude. And Billy helped me out a little bit because wasn't relied on a fight. He's got a point a game with us, and then he went in to ask for more money, which he deserved, but it didn't work out. And then I lost Billy. Billy, wasn't my teammate anymore, but I love the fucking guy. He was great. So yeah, that year, why I went there is because I was going to be the lone gun. I was going to get to fight everyone, and the way I was like, this year is either going to make me or break me. So I'm either going to do well and get an NHL deal, or I'm going to have scrambled eggs and I'm not going to get shit. And then I can move on with my life. I was all the fuck in. So it worked out. And then my agent called me and said a couple teams want to offer you NHL deals. And I really was looking for 2 years because I'd never been on one. I mean, I was a fucking different team every year. You know the deal, for the opportunity, like a suitcase. Gun for hire, I call it. And it wasn't really about the money at all because you're not making much. You're barely surviving on that kind of money. But especially with a family, I had a stepson who's, changed my life because I was wild. And he's a senior now. I'm very proud of him. Senior at Georgia Southern. And now I have a daughter who's 5'10", just turned 14 and looks like a fucking 20-year-old. I mean, I'm in on. That's stay sharp. So tell all those little Johnnies they can come get some too. What was the line? Hey,
come and get it.
Yeah, come and get it. Little Johnny, hey, little Johnny, try to fuck with my Danny Ryan, buddy. I'll fuck you up.
There you go, buddy. Yeah, man.
So, yes, I signed a 2-year deal with the Rangers and much, much better pay. Unfortunately, we had the lockout because I was ready, man. I mean, I got down to I was always played a little heavy, right? Like, you know the deal. Hockey's push-pull, little corner weight, never hurt nobody. In our role, it's not like we're playing a ton, Could be 2 shifts one period, could be 6 shifts one period, but it's not like we're playing like the Stars. And so they wanted me to get leaner and they wanted me to be 225. Like I had to that's hard. I mean, I was 240.
Oh yeah?
220. Yeah, so I was 240, 238, 240 in springy. Made to fight, that's how I was built. And so then that summer, man, I was on it was I was, so I don't know if you probably know because you're a Canadian boy, but some of the people listening, I know you have an audience and you're a legend in England and all over. So you got people all over. But this family is called the Vanderpool family. They're pro boxers from Canada. And Sid was with Don King, and Sid had a world title fight or two and didn't win him, but he's elite, high end, the best we have in Canada. And then he had another brother named Fitz the Whip. And Fitz was a fucking pro too, badass, longtime fighter. And then their brother, Keith Vanderpool, was my guy, bro. So this is my boy. And someday I'm going to repay him and bring him up here and do some cool shit. But this is my guy. And so I was the first hockey guy he got. And we used to train in this old ass boxing gym, bro. And it's people would know it. It's in Kitchener, and it's this old cop place where they used to train. And it's a lot of young kids they take out of the bad parts and get them disciplined and change their lives. Well, guys like me would go in there too, and there'd be pros, it'd be anyone. And there's not no fluffy gym. I mean, there's no fucking AC and shit. I mean, it's old school windows that you gotta prop out. It's hot as a motherfucker in there. And I started training with them, and when I pretty much from after my first year pro. So in junior, I didn't do boxing and stuff. It was just come natural from whatever. And I'm left-handed. Well, when I get to the pros and these guys could throw both hands, I was mainly a lefty. Jersey jabs weren't popular back then, ding, 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 whatever, all that shit wasn't around. And so just taking it to a new level, realizing I got no shot to make it as a player. So, it's at least being smart enough, guys like me, I got to grow my box in this category, which is hitting, being a great teammate, helping guys, staying on, going on before practice, after practice, anything I can do, right, that gives me an edge, or to let me stay there long enough where hopefully their tough guy up top goes down, and then there's no one left. They give you a shot. That's kind of the mentality. That's what you have to do. And so, I can't him enough, especially Keith. That's my boy. But so yeah, that year unfortunately didn't have an NHL camp. I was ready. I got down. I was doing fucking 200s, 100s, 400s, crazy jumps. I mean, this is insanity training for that era. I mean, this is a long time ago. Boxing every day, skating every day. You know the deal. Power skating, all the shit. And I was ready. So a little disappointing that we never had a season, but after. Then you see what happens. I mean, I think, were you playing then?
I was in Rochester the lockout year, right?
Okay. So
Yeah.
So is that your rookie year?
No, that was my third year. My third year pro. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, obviously how tough it was. I mean, I think you were up, if I remember correct, because I mean I've been hit a lot, but the stats packet, there was Sugden, McGrattan, you. I think and you guys are all in that other division, and I'm thinking, how the fuck are these motherfuckers fighting this much? Like, I'm fighting every night. I'm like, and I'm thinking, because you know how it is. Back then, you want to be like, it don't so much matter about the Pims, but you want to be up there in the majors, so you're catching attention to the big dogs, especially because they were all watching, and it's during the lockout. So yeah. I'm like, these fucking guys are lunatics. Colton Orr was up there. I fought him a million times. Colton Orr is the most I've ever fought anyone. I fought Colton Orr, counting preseason and regular season, I fought him 10 times. And tough as fucking nails. Hard right-hander. Good chin. And we fought a lot. And I love the guy. He's a great guy. We don't talk much anymore, but we've kind of, you know how it is. You kind of just mutual respect.
Oh, yeah.
Just a phenomenal warrior. Like, his hands are more fucked up than mine, and I can't straighten my fingers. Look. I mean, he's a warrior. At 20 years old, hungry, just wanting to go everyone. Going Brant Meyer, going everyone. Mel Engelstad, he's going everyone. Just like you. Same fucking thing. But that year, look at the fighting major leaders. I'm not even in them. And I had 30. That year, I broke my foot. I got hit by a shot, and I shattered my foot, the navicular bone. It's a bone that has a tendon going through it. It's a major weight-bearing bone in your foot. And you can't walk without, I had to learn how to walk and shit again. So I just went to the gym and hitting the speed bag, doing the ubi. You remember the ubi?
Oh yeah,
it's fucking insane. Oh, yeah. Like, I'm just trying to stay in shape, so when my fucking foot gets better, I'm not going to get throttled. And so, but that year was amazing. I mean, every team. I mean, if you name a team, I could probably go back and name guys. I mean,
I'll tell you one thing.
It was wild.
Brian McGrattan.
It was Wild West. The Wild West.
Brian McGrattan, he broke the record that year for PIMS in a season, I believe. Right? He broke 500 and something.
He beat his mentor, Dennis Bonvi's record.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. For PIMS in a season, right?
So I played with Big Earn at the end of our careers, buddy. He is fucking hilarious, man, and he is awesome. He'd be like, "Big Train." It's like, "It's fucking painful here, Bo. It's painful." Meaning, like, he got sent down.
I played with him in junior.
We were in Adirondack. He's wild, bro. I love that guy. Beauty. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, I was blessed to play with Gratz in junior. We were on that Mississauga Ice Dog team with Don Cherry, right?
Don Cherry's my favorite, bro.
Yeah, bro. He's a legend. He's a fucking best. He's a legend, bro.
Best.
Right? But I wanted to bring up the lockout year just because it was so tough, man. And like when amazing. I have a guy, when I had a guy that did the role right through that year.
The hockey.
Sorry, go ahead, Trev.
The hockey was incredible. I mean, in Hartford Wolfpack, we had Joseph Ballet, not to name all these guys, but like Dominic Moore's on TV now. Our top players were like Jamie Lundmark, Jeff Hamilton. I mean, the whole team. Our two goalies, Jason LaBarbera and Steve Valaket, both NHL goalies. I mean, the whole fucking of our fourth. Listen to our fourth line. It was me, Ryan Hallwig, and Craig Weller. I mean, that is fucking insane. Those two guys hit better than I do, and I'm a good hitter. I was. I'm fat, old fucker. And but man, that's a wrecking machine line right there. I mean, like, I called Weller Moose. I mean, just like big, long, lean. just crushing. Ryan Hallweg was a weapon. I mean, on F1, like, 'cause you couldn't hold up really by then, right? That's when they started changing the rules. So it's like, I mean, it was stupid, dude. I mean, I didn't have to ask anyone really because it was fucking coming. Like we were like multi-ball and pinball. You know, when you get millions of points and all the balls come out. I mean, there's
Oh,
like we
yeah.
barely knew there was a fucking puck on the ice. It was you know the league. It was insane, and every team had that. It's not just our line. Every team was like 3-5 deep. You know, it was. I mean, Norfolk. They had Brown, first round Brown, big boy. They had some Atkins guy on defense, Sean Thornton. I mean, they had more.
Was
I mean,
Reed Lowe
Travis
there at that
Bowen,
time?
maybe Reed Lowe. Yeah, I mean, like
Yeah.
every team. I mean, you could name a team, and I could probably get them. I mean, it's been a long time, but that league was fucking, and the hockey was so damn good. It was insane. Who's
Yeah,
that?
no, I hear you,
Who's
buddy.
that? Who you talking with there?
My mom.
Hey, mom.
Yeah, I do the recording from my mom's house, man.
Oh,
I love it.
God.
Hey,
She
Mama
knows
McMor-
Sully really well, buddy.
Hey, Mama McMorrow.
Hi, sweetheart.
Trevor Gillies,
How
a
are
legend.
you?
I'm
not-
good,
I'm not
Trev.
a
We
legend.
had such a good time at Sully's wedding.
Oh, nice. When did he get married?
He got married in August.
Awesome. Yeah,
Yeah,
I like
yeah,
Sully.
you got remarried, man.
That's great.
Yeah.
I like the background, bro.
Well, I used to have a big painting there, but my brother-in-law took it. It was pretty cool. But no, it's my office, you know. Whatever.
Lovely. Well,
It's honor to me. It's honor to meet you. I met your son a long time ago. He's awesome.
Yeah, well, there you go. Have a good night.
It was good
Thanks,
to meet
bro.
you.
Bye, sweetheart.
Yeah, just so the
Okay.
listeners know, we are a family show here. We always involve everybody, so that's awesome.
Dude.
I appreciate you saying hi to
Always,
my
man. I never met a stranger in my life, man. I mean, your mom's cool.
mom.
They gotta
No, I
be.
hear you, buddy.
They gotta be cool to have guys like us that support us growing up.
There you go. Exactly, buddy. And that's as real as it gets, Trevor. So now, dude, I'm curious about the trade to Anaheim. I'm now obviously what you did in Hartford, you know, you proved that you could beat anyone. You're gonna show up every night. Anaheim obviously believed in that because they made the trade for you when you were in the AHL the previous season, right?
Yeah. So you know, and I'm happy that trade happened, but I was kind of like setting myself up good to. I mean, now that I became an Islander, I mean, I don't want my Islander fans to be like, but I at the time I wasn't in the Islanders' plans, you know. So like, I was really gearing up to try to get some time up with the Rangers. They love toughness. They always have toughness, and you know, we had a really tough team in Hartford with the Wolfpack and unreal coaches. I mean, I got to play for Nick Fatiu was my assistant coach, another guy that spent a ton of time with me. He's a legend. Tough. Like he gets mentioned in the tough of all time.
Yeah.
And then I played for Ryan McGill, man. Gillatron, I call him. And Gilly was amazing. He loved me, man. Like he played me all the time. I never sat out a game healthy scratch for either of those teams that you're talking about, like Springfield and Hartford. But I shattered my foot, so I was fucking out. And so that was when, you know, it was me. I was the guy on forward, but we had a nice supporting cast. I mean, we had Weller, you know, young Hallweg rookie. But on D we had Grenier. I mean, fucking guys,
Ooh.
He's a fucking beast. I mean, we had Garth Murray. You know, Muzz could play. I mean, we had a tough team, but we were also really good. And so playing for Gilly loved that shit. He wanted fast hockey, good skill, but he wanted to make sure none of his guys were fucked with, and we made sure of that. So then I get hurt, and so our farm team in the East Coast League is, the Charlotte Checkers, and my brother was playing there. And so we call up a young Steve McIntyre. For anyone who hasn't heard of him, might need to dig themselves under the rock they've been under, because that motherfucker, as he got older, was absolute animal. I mean,
Yeah.
you could hit him with a fucking 2x4 or a Louisville Slugger. He ain't going down, Bo. I can tell you that's a tough motherfucking Saskatchewan boy. I mean, me and you are Ontario boys. There's not a lot of us. Me, you, Brennan. There's some older guys like Van den Bush and different guys over the years.
Erskine.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I love that guy's tough as shit. But you know, I'm talking I'm talking like most of them are from out west. Let's be honest. I mean, Saskatchewan, Alberta boys, you know. But Macker got called up, and we just hit it off, dude. I mean, I was there when he bought the ring for his now ex-wife. I mean, we were just tight, and you know, he picked up where I left off because I couldn't play. I mean, I couldn't do shit. So Macker went on a nice run, and then what was so cool is when I got healthy, then they'd line. So we would be on the fourth line, and they'd move like Hallweg and Weller up the lineup because guys get hurt, you know the deal. And so they'd put us with like Garth Murray or like Dominic Moore because they're good defensive centers, right? Block shots, win faceoffs. And when you're not a talented line like with me and Mac, I mean, he would love that I'm saying this. It'd be like me and you playing on a line together, right? We need a little help. As long as we're out of the D zone, bro, you know, low and slow, the centerman gets it, or if we're on our wing, if we're open, great, boom, we make a little, you know, little hard one-touch pass to the centerman or chink it off the glass with slash support. Yep. We're off to the races. When me and you, guys like me and you and all the boys, we're in the neutral zone or the offensive zone, we are fucking dangerous because we're going to blow dudes up. The puck's going to be sitting there for that talented centerman to come pick it up, boom, boom, low to high, get in front of the net. We start creating havoc, and you know, and fucking good things happen. We get rebounds, and people are terrified because we're running around murdering people. But no, it was just a fun year. So the trade, I get the call, and my agent tells me, you've been traded to the Anaheim Ducks. And I said, what? Because I was geared up, man. I was like training hard. I was geared up to like go to Rangers camp. It's back on. I had a hell of a year with them, fight wise, and they were happy with me. Well, there's no wonder why they made the trade. I mean, it was like me and a draft pick. Like, I don't even know who that was, but like nobody's a minor league tough guy for Steve Ruchin. I mean, look up that guy's stats. I mean, he's a fucking stud. So, you know, obviously they made the trade. I mean, it might have been money issues or whatever. You know how it is, like cap, and he's making a lot of money. Yeah. We're going to bring him back. But Brian Burr is an absolute legend. I don't know if you ever read his book. It's cool as hell. But I love that guy. I mean, I played for him there for 2 years with Portland, with the Pirates. And then later on in my career, I played for Berkey. He called me up from the coast and gave me great money to go finish my to go to Calgary, and ended up getting another shot in the A at an old man age. I played in Abbotsford for him, and then the next year in Adirondack. But so anyway, I get traded, and you know, same thing. So you're excited, you know, traded for a pretty good player with a draft pick, and then all of a sudden, you know, you see some of the other guys they sign, and you know, they're great guys. I love them both. Yeah, you know, and Kip Brennan and Todd Fedoruk. Well, then you realize like they both got more NHL time than you, a lot more. You know, I'd never gotten a game. They played a bunch, and then you realize, well, the writing's on the wall. Like, have the best camp you can have. You know, try to open some eyes and impress some people, but ultimately you're going to be the high-paid babysitter and go protect the talent in the minors, which is fine. I totally embraced that role, and you know, me and you were honored to do it, and I loved every minute of it. So, you know, kind of that's what happened, and get sent back. And man, Portland, dude, bro, I love that town. Like, amazing hockey town, amazing fans. We had amazing teams. Played for Kevin Dineen when he was a rookie coach. Now he's in the NHL, I believe. Don't really follow it as much. But man, what a team. Like, my first year there, listen to these names. I don't want to do all the name drops, but it's just too impressive to not talk about. It's the best team I ever played.
Go ahead.
We have defense. We have Shane O'Brien, Aaron Rome, Kent Huskins, all NHLers. Jordan Smith, who is an absolute killer. He's my buddy. I still talk. Me and him were Snapchatting earlier. He's unreal fisherman, amazing guy and teammate. He was fighting Cam Jansen as a rookie, going toe-to-toe, second-round pick. Would have played a long time in the league. And why we wear half visors is because of what happened to him. So he's a tough defenseman, second-round pick. He's battling a guy, and there's like a pass and a 1T, and the 1T goes off a stick. And you know the 1P sticks we use. And what happens is it hits it and picks up speed, and we didn't wear visors. You know, the old CCM buckets, you know the deal. Not the knuckle busters, but the old good CCM buckets. Probably still got a couple kicking around. They're legendary. And so he gets hit in the eye, and this is my boy now. So it cost Smitty his career, but the Ducks looked after him just like full class. That's Brian Burke, and so most people wouldn't talk about this. I don't think my buddy would mind because I was there with him fishing every day. I had an injury. Aaron Rome hit me with a shot in practice, and I shattered my other navicular bone 2 years in a row, 2 different feet. So Smitty's the man, but Smitty's a coach in the OHL, bro. Doing great, got a great family. I think he's the assistant coach with the Sioux Greyhounds.
Okay, right on.
Yeah, but if you look up his fucking fights, bro,
yeah,
no chance this guy's not playing 10, 15 years in the league. He was a good player, and he could fight anyone. Rookie going toe-to-toe with Cam Jansen's fighting all these guys. Like, he's great help for me. But we had, like, Tim Brent, Ryan Shannon, little guy's fast, both played a long time in the NHL. On my line was Curtis Glencross. This guy was a stud, scored 30 goals in the NHL, made millions. You got Zenon Konopka, absolute warrior, one of the best leaders I ever played with. P.A. Parento, stud player. Then you had Corey Perry. Ryan Getzlaff played about 30 games with us.
Wow.
You had Bobby Ryan. I mean, this whole team, if you look at it, it's insane. I mean, we made it to Game 7 of semifinals, conference finals in the AHL, and we lost in, I think, double OT with like a fucking minute left against Hershey. They had that stud French goalie, and they went on to, I think, win against Milwaukee four in a row. Swept them. I think 4-0 or 4-1.
So now, and thanks for sharing that, Trevor. No, I see that Augusta.
Hey,
no. But I'm being honest. Because I love that type of stuff, brother, and I know the listeners do too. So
all that's the shit, man. I mean, it's kind of cool to talk about because I never think about it anymore. So it's like,
no, I know, and you remember more and more, right?
Yeah. I never talk hockey.
Yeah, buddy. So now Augusta, there was a little taste of Augusta at that time too, bro.
Oh, this
right?
Is the best. You'll love this. Okay. I'm glad you brought that up. So, obviously that's when I'm probably at my best playing wise. Like I was effective. I was in better shape, took it more serious. I wasn't just built to fucking fight and play, 10, 12 shifts a game, 15, whatever. Like I was getting an opportunity to play. Like Kevin Dineen was awesome. Like he loves guys like us. So Kevin Dineen knew exactly how to play us. After a goal against, immediately on the next draw. Like I'm playing. Starting games. I don't know how many anthems I stood for, starting lineup. Like he just knew. Some coaches just don't have a clue. They might like to have a guy like us, but we're like more used like meat. They don't know how to truly use a guy like us to be fully effective. Guy, Kevin Dineen, he just got it, man. It's a hockey fucking guy. The guy, like, you remember the Versa climber, bro?
Yeah.
So like, what's his name? LeBron. LeBron's big on the Versa climber. LeBron's one of the best athletes of all time. I'm a huge Kobe guy. I'm a huge Jordan guy. I like basketball players. I think they're stud athletes. So if we had a weigh-in on a Monday, right? You remember how the league is. Like, we might have a Wednesday game, and we play Friday, Saturday, Sunday afternoon game, right? So you might have, in 3 games in 2.5 days. I mean, you might have 6 fucking fights, and then you go out and rip it up with the boys, and you're getting wild, right? And then we have the day off. It's the only time you get to go out and do that at that level is you get your 1 day off. Well, it's expected to go out with the boys. Old school. Now I think they play video games and don't do shit. But back then, I mean, we're going out to get wild. And if you didn't come, then you weren't kind of part of the squad. I mean, like, we're going deep. I mean, almost the whole squad, right? Couple of the nerds, but you still love them because they're your brothers. But whatever. The most of the crew, we're going to have a time. So then we come in. I'm just being brutally honest. Yeah. And then you come in and you step on the scale, right? Tink, 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 tink. And then, like, they know where you usually are. And then you keep going. Tink, 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 tink. And fuck, if I was over that 235 to 238 threshold, well, it was probably less back then. I'd say maybe like 230. He wanted me at like 233, 230, 233, but I'd come in at like 235. I mean, I could eat fucking, if I look at a carb, I'm putting on a little bit of weight, like I love pizza. So, the deal, street meat, whatever. I mean, at the end of the bar with the boys or whatever, go to After Hours place, the deal. And so Mrs. Gills was there with me. We're having a time. And and so if I was over, bro, it was bike time, or if I wanted to like not go as long, we'll call it the fat club. You know what I'm talking about? You don't look like you ever had to do that, but I had to do it. And so I'd say instead of doing 45 on a bike, which just tightens your hip flexors, which anyone who rides a bike still and you play hockey, burn that fucker. Because it's awful for your hockey stride. It shortens your hip flexors. You need to lengthen them. I mean, there's so many other things I could help these kids with that just some of the training in hockey is so fucking old school, but especially back then. So I'd be like, well, I don't want to ride the bike, coach. I wouldn't say it to him, but pretty much like I'm saying it, he could tell by my face. Like I'm not telling him that because, the boss is the boss. But I'm like, he could tell I didn't want to ride the fucking bike. It's awful for your hockey. It's awful. So especially guys like us, and especially in hockey where it's a quad dominant game. So people, I'm a lot smarter than I act. Quad dominant game means we're so overdeveloped in the quads compared to the back of the leg. And your hip flexors in a bike shortens your hip flexors. So I'd be like, fuck that fucking bike. So he'd say, you can do this, this, or this. This is this time, which was like 20 minutes on the Versa climber compared to 45 on the bike. It is way harder. Way harder. Versa climber is serious. You ever heard of the Jacob's ladder machine, bro?
Yes.
All cops and Navy SEALs and Army do it. It's like a bear crawl, but it's like so the two hardest machines in any cardio besides boxing or ultimate like MMA fight training or anything like that. I don't give a fuck what anyone says. The two hardest machines in any gym is the Versa climber and the fucking Jacob's ladder. So we didn't have a Jacob's ladder. So I said, coach, I want the Versa climber just on purpose, just to be like, dude, I'll show you. Just like, but man, it'll bust your ass. And then I have to do some extra skating and stuff, which is always good. Little cutbacks, cut back, hit the D, sprint to the net, tip. You know the deal. Go to the other corner, cut back, get it to the D, sprint to the net, fight off some guy in practice that didn't really want to be laying the lumber to me, but because I'm getting bagged, but he had to. Yeah. You know the deal.
Yeah.
But man, the guy is a legend, and then what a town. I mean, if you could fish after practice. I mean, it had the most 5-star restaurants per capita in America. It's a small little place. You got the beach, you walk your dog. I mean, it's like tons of snow. I mean, you got the old port. I mean, the town is sick, man. I mean, we just loved it there. Loved it.
Portland, Maine, we're talking about.
It's sick.
Yeah. I've heard a lot about it.
So undercover. It's one of the best cities still to this day in the American League. Even with the, San Diego Gulls and some of those teams out there. Portland, they're not in the league anymore. They have an East Coast team, I believe. Don't quote me on it. I'm kind of out of the loop. But, dude, it's fucking an awesome hockey town. And back then we were so good that the rink was sold out every night, man. It was amazing. Truly one of my favorite places.
I know that the city. Yeah, Portland had Buffalo as an affiliate for a little while, and then Buffalo ended up going back to Rochester, and so some of my buddies got a chance to play there, bro. They said the same thing. It's phenomenal.
So phenomenal. So now I remember because I've had some concussions, obviously, like all of us. But who gives a fuck? You asked about when I got sent down, and I went on a rave about my teammates just because the team was so awesome.
No, I appreciate it.
Yeah,
no problem.
So I rented my first year. I lived downtown. I lived in this old ass apartment, and it had like the old floors. If you put a marble or something on them, it would roll. But they were like so cool. It was all old, original hardwood, like wild crown molding, like the huge doors, huge ceilings. But it's old place. And I had a dog. I bought my dog Proby, named after Bob Probert, who you can see the jersey on the wall right there. And
yes.
So he was an old English bulldog, the real jacked one, not the fat one like the Georgia bulldog. And he was young then. So first year he's a puppy. That's when I get him. And then after year one, me and Konopka and some of the boys, we're a really tight group there. We all decide we want to go live on the beach. So they lived in different beaches, but we're all kind of close. And there was this place we used to go to after hours, after games. It was called Pizza Time, and the guy that owned it, his name's Angelo. He's a Greek guy. He's amazing. Great family. And so they'd keep it open as long as we wanted. So on that night, after you playing a ton of fights, 3 games in 2.5 days, maybe one on Wednesday, we all go, the whole team, the guys, girls, we're making our own pizzas, our own cocktails. I mean, the place was incredible. Fans would be in there sometimes.
Wow.
It's not. And then we were close enough where, my wife, she was preggers. So she would just drive us home. And, we had DDs and all the good stuff. And then we might take it back to one of the boys' houses, whatever, cards, whatever. But we lived on the beach.
Yep.
So I lived in Higgins Beach. Cool place. And so while I'm during that year, I get a call. So no, first my wife brings me to and she's not drinking, right? So my wife likes to have some wine. I call it the Jesus juice. She loves red wine. So she stops drinking wine and I don't say anything. And I'm like kind of like wondering, okay, what's going on here? So she pulls me into the kitchen and my stepson, I can't remember his age at the time, but he's a young little guy. And my dog is just going crazy, spinoramas and all that shit I couldn't do with the puck. And we're chatting and she tells me she drops the good bomb, like she's pregnant. And so he's totally pumped, like the best feeling on earth. And we've been trying. And then I get a call so we're like, can't celebrate. I mean, she's pregnant, but I'm celebrating. And so put a fire on. It had like the cobblestone, like kind of fireplace. It's a cool beach house, right? And I would never be able to afford it on minor league money, but it's like these rich people have these homes and they're their summer homes. So we would always get them super dirt cheap during the off season, right? During the winter, because it's a lot of snow in Maine. It's cold. And so I go from like the highest high, as we say in pro hockey, you never want to be too high with the highs, don't be too low with the lows. You want to ride even keel, right? It's a good way to be. And like the no shit's given, like who gives a fuck. But so I go from the highest high to all of a sudden Kevin Dineen calls me. You know the deal. Same thing with the Greg Ireland story. Whenever you get a call as a tough guy from the coach, it's one of two things. You're either going down or you're going up, which don't happen a lot. The second one. The later. So I get a call from Dino. We're tight, this is year 2 with him. And he tells me I had a broken hand. And so, and I've already been bagging and practicing, but I'm not up to game. You know this thing. I mean, even though in my head I'm like, fuck, just put me in. I'll fight someone first shift and we'll figure it out. Like my conditioning will come. You're gonna bag me every day after practice. I get it. Like, but just keep me up here. That's my mentality, right? As a player. But that wasn't the case. So, I was getting sent down. So I said, and I was just like, yes, sir, you know the deal. And just all respect. He's the commander in chief. It's the way it is, right? It's like there's one chief and many Indians, whatever the analogy is. Like, who cares? So, it's just the warrior way. So I go, yes, sir. And I said, so where am I going? He goes, well, I think you're going to like this. And I said, really? I said, because I had no clue. He goes, well, I know you don't know about it because you've been up here. He said, but our farm team's Augusta. He goes, you own a house there, don't you? I said, yes, sir. And so sure enough, I get sent to Augusta, bro. I hadn't been in the East Coast League in a million years, which I love the coast. I mean, I wouldn't have continued to play at the end of my career, which I'm sure we'll get into, if I didn't truly love it, right? I loved every minute of it. So I get sent down, bro. I'm living in my house, which isn't the one I'm in now, but I still own that house. I only rent it to military. And so I'm in Portland, Maine, and so I have a Navigator. You remember the Navigators? It's like an 01 Navigator. Fully loaded. It was a cool car. It was cool. It wasn't the best color. It wasn't black on black, but it was like champagne, but the thing was badass. And so I have the Navigator up in Portland. So, but I get sent down and I go, so I'm like thinking in my head, I'm like, I can't fucking wait to drive the old Black Beauty to the fucking rink. So, and I'm older, right, for that league. It's young man's league.
Yeah.
And so I get sent down instead of going to some shit hotel and with the terrible per diem in the coast. It's an absolute mockery. I like get to go to my own house, like take my keys, get in it. I'm in my fucking house. And then I go in the first thing I do, I don't even drop my bags. I leave them like outside. I immediately go to the garage, open the garage so I don't die of those fumes. And I like pump the gas because I have an old 66 Bel Air. I've had it since I was before my wife. You probably heard about it. It's wild. And now
I've seen it, buddy.
Yeah, well now
I've
it's
seen
all
you
done,
drive.
bro. Now it's sick, but people, a lot of people talk about it like he used to drive that with no heater in it. Asked Brant Myers, and it used to be like turquoise with green interior. I mean, I could see the work in progress, right? Big girls need love too, Big Shot. So, but she's beautiful now. I mean, everyone loves it. So I pump the gas. It's not fuel injected. You know what I'm saying? It's not like a LS motor. It's old school. It's like 350 4-barrel, top end, all that shit. We're not getting into cars, but it's totally done up. And it didn't have AC back then, but it's not hot. It's in the winter. So I pumped the gas a couple times. Didn't have the MSD ignition, so it took a little bit. It's been sitting for months. And I'm like, motherfucker, you better start. So get a little more fuel in there. Wow! Like fired up. I fucking pump. I let it warm up. I go grab my shit. I just throw it in the house. I don't even fucking think about hockey. I just go for a rip in my ride. And then next day I had practice. And man, it was just such a cool time to come down here because I was like, I wasn't playing D anymore. I'm on forward. So instead of getting run, you get to run, So I got to run, and I had strict instructions from Brian Burke, like, Gills, you're just coming off a broken hand. You're not allowed to fight. Like, I can't express this enough. If you fight, I'm not calling you up. So you know how that is. You're taking away our biggest weapon. What gives us a little space to make some simple hockey plays, because let's be honest, we're not the most skilled guys, but that toughness and how we hit and the way we are, that it gives you some room. And so in the first fucking game, we play Alaska. I think it's Alaska. And I'm playing a pretty fucking good game. Obviously, it's a little slower level. It's still great hockey, but it's not the same as the American League, right? You know how it is. It's a little step up every notch. You've done it. And so I'm running around. I'm playing good hockey. I'm having some good touches. I'm actually carrying the puck around the ice. I mean, like, cycling. It's kind of fucking fun. It's not just like seeking. And so, I mean, I'm playing the game. Well, they got a young, hungry guy on the other team named Hans Benson. You ever heard of him?
Oh, Hans.
All right. So Hans decides it would be fun, which I respect. I respect this. I do respect his mentality because it was the exact same way we were when we were in Junior B or Tier 2 in the OHL and every league you go, right? You challenge the toughest guys if you're the real deal, and which we are, and everyone you have on the show is that fights, because you wouldn't have them on if they weren't.
Yep. You
go challenge the toughest guys to be established, right? And I respected what he was doing, but I have to tell him honestly, I'm like, he asked me, he's keep following me around. He's whacking me, wants to go. And I said, hey, kid, I didn't know him. I said, hey, kid, I'm like, I respect what you're doing, man. I'm like, trust me, I want to go you so fucking bad right now. You have no idea, but I can't. I'm coming off a broken hand. I have strict fucking orders from Brian Burke that if I fight anyone while I'm down here, no matter if it's 2 games or 20 games, I'm not going back up. I said, my wife's pregnant up fucking, not like he gave a shit, but my wife's fucking pregnant. My son and dog are up there. You think I want to be down here? Even though I had the blast, bro. I love Augusta. And it was awesome. And so sure enough, he kept on and he kept on. Well, I get hit from behind, bro, in front of their bench. Probably my own fault. Like, I'm not skilled enough to just pick it up off the wall and wheel. So I'm bigger target, big bodies. Someone buries me, right? You know the deal. So I go down, kind of smack the head off the boards. There's no visors. Maybe we might have been in visors then. I can't remember. And so their whole bench is fucking giving it to me. And which is fine. I love chirps. I'm all about the chirps. I was one of the biggest shit talkers ever. So, that get them mad. So they want to do something perfect. They can't dodge you all night, right? You just want it to come to you, whether you win or lose. If you never lost, you ain't fighting the right guys. That's how me and Yabo look at it. So fucking fight them all. Fuck it. So I fall down. They all laugh. They think it's fucking funny. And Hans goes, "You're not so fucking tough now, eh? Showtime." And their whole bench is going, showtime, because I got knocked out my first NHL game. Everyone knew about it. It's not a fucking secret. Derek Bugard, guy's monstrous. He caught me. And
it was a good fight, though, Trev.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, it is what it is. The guy's the champ. Who gives a fuck? But I still hopped back on the fucking horse as soon as I was better. That's damn right. So I said, I look at the coach, and it was Keith McCambridge, who I told you about earlier, who I had fought in the American League. I look at him, and he's their coach. I just lose my fucking shit and I go, that's fucking it. And I just come unglued. And so I get up and Cons isn't on the ice. I get up and I sprint full speed into the offensive zone. Their defenseman's going back to get the puck. When he comes out from behind the net, total goon play. I don't give a shit. The wire's crossed, bro. I wasn't allowed to fight, but I was bringing it to him. So when this D-man steps out, he's about 6'4", 6'5", big guy, probably not a heavyweight, but I don't give a shit. So he tries to juke me. I was just going to blow him up with a clean hit, but he juked me and he kind of gets beside me. So I do like WWF, like when we were kids, now WWE style. I bring out the old fucking wham, like I clothesline this cat, like right across his fucking chest, like his neck. Down he goes. The big defenseman comes over to me. I don't know who he is. And he just, it's a yard sale, buddy. It's fucking full on yard sale. And so we're going. I beat the fuck out of this guy. I don't know who he was. It was a commercial around here for like Doctor's Hospital Forever, which is a big hospital. And I'm just like, head down, wham, like I'm going over unders, dropping them, picking them back up. It was bad. And then when they're taking me out of there, James Brown Arena, it used to be like Augusta Civic Center or whatever. And Hans is, which he should be, right? I just took advantage of his player, but hey, I told you all night I couldn't go. And then you guys want to keep going. You want to keep chirping. You poke the lion long enough, the lion's going to come out. So he's losing his mind and I'm laughing. I know I'm out. And not like I wish he would have hopped the boards. I would have fought him right there. So I tell him when I'm going off, you'll love this. I tell him, I said, hey, you ever get to the American League, I'm like, it's on. That was the only time I played them. They're not in our division in the South. Well, sure enough, later on, if you want to pull that fight up, I shatter his nose, concussion. I just fucking kill the guy later on when he was the same thing, hungry, came up to me and warm up in the American League, wants to go. And I'm like, I go, oh, it's fucking happening tonight. Like, there's no more, like, I can't fight you. I'm like, it's happened tonight. So first shit, I respect what he was doing, but when you got, the deal, you got to respect, like, I asked a lot of guys over my career, I'm not going to name drop them, some absolute legends, some that like, that are way older than us. And I'd ask them when they get sent down at the end of their careers. And I'd be like, hey, whatever, I'd be honored to have you on my fight card, sir. Whatever, not sir, but like, I'd be honored to have you on my fight card.
Yeah.
Will you give me a shot? And they'd be like, nah, Gilly, he'd say his nickname. I'm tired, like, sorry, buddy. Like, and I'm like, all right, well, if you want to go, just let me know. So, I'm ready to go. We go fresh. And he goes, Gilly, I'm not going to go. He's like, kid, have a good game, like, but that's just what you do. Or someone has a bad hand or they might be dinged up. You just take them at their word, which most of them are always telling the truth because most, and then that's just the way it is. This guy wouldn't take no for an answer. Unfortunately, he got one of his teammates almost absolutely fucking killed.
Yeah. Yeah, man. But isn't it interesting, Trev? Like how
it was amazing to play here though for those 7 games. I had so much fun. Amazing.
Yeah. It's interesting how like there comes opportunities like to get guys like, you know what I mean, at the right time. Like even if it's years down the road, bro, like they do come up those opportunities.
I won't bring up a list, but I got a list that if I see them today, it's probably gonna happen. Like I told my wife, I was like, there's a couple guys over the years. You probably they're on your list too. We won't do that, but I got a list, and some of my boys know it, and there's some of the same guys are on their list. Yabo, Scroy. I mean, certain guys that, if they want to sign the waiver, I'll do it right now.
Hey, I hear you, brother. I hear you. And we may on another episode.
But the majority of the guys in our role are so honorable, so humble, because it's the hardest job in the world and it's the hardest job in pro sports. And you can be the man one day, and if you take someone lightly and you don't bring your A game, you could be looking up at the lights the next. And at any time you could be sent down or seriously hurt for the rest of your life. And that's what most people don't realize, like what guys like us were willing to sacrifice in order for the good guys, do the dirty work so the good guys can win. And that's a shame that they're trying to forget our legacy And not us, because there was way tougher, and it's been going on for a long time. It's part of hockey, but for them to now to see correct me if I'm wrong, because I've had a couple cocktails, but a resurgence, is that the word?
Yeah.
A resurgence of fighting again in the National League. It makes me very excited. And
it is exciting.
I'm really enjoying it, brother.
Yeah, man. Okay. When we played, Trevor, there was a character that was part of the teams where I knew if I was playing you, it's like, okay, is Gillies in the lineup tonight? All right, I'm gonna go talk to him and warm up. We're gonna see when this is gonna happen.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
And it was always so honorable.
Yeah, man. There was so much more to the game. There was a build-up. There was what happened last game. Oh, I wonder if they're gonna start their tough guys. Oh, you know what I mean? Like, you don't get that anymore, brother.
You're right, and that's a shame, because most people think that we're just knuckle dragging Neanderthals, and it couldn't be further from the truth. Like, I know so many ex-fighters that make the best coaches, whether it's kids, whether it's pro hockey, businessmen. I mean, we had to be students of the game, my friend. Me and you had to work our fucking ass off to get everything we got in hockey. We weren't supposed to play junior B, let alone OHL, and then fucking, playing the AHL and the East Coast and the NHL. I mean, look at the odds. I mean, it's crazy. Like, so,
0.0001.
Yeah, exactly. We should feel very fortunate that we got to play a little boys and girls game for a long time, and makes, solid money doing it, following our dream and getting to travel the world and meet so many great people. It's a true, as I say, it's blessed and unstoppable. But, for people to downplay what we did and how hard we worked and sacrificed, to me, is just an absolute fucking shame. And they should be embarrassed. Like, they should be embarrassed, because they would have never got a fucking shot if it wasn't for being willing to do the dirty work so the good guys could win. They weren't good enough. They might say they were, but they truly weren't. They could fill the whole they would have got guys from Europe, Russia, Finland. I mean, all great guys. Sweden, but that wasn't hockey. That wasn't our era. So, and guys like me and you don't make it to the American League and the NHL if you can't play. Like, we can go out to any fucking men's still, and I'm not saying dominate, but I ain't played in a while, so I don't want to I'll be calling myself out. But, you know the deal. I mean, I can't handle the high school heroes, bro, and the keyboard warriors in life. Like, I still get messages. I'm like, dude, that was back in 2011. Like, I don't write them anything, but just try to keep it respectful and professional. But ultimately, I'm like, you wouldn't say shit to me in my face, because I'm ready. I believe in always being ready, And so I know you do too. That's why you look the way you do. Just mind-boggling the things people get away with nowadays in the world on social media. And dude, I wish we could have played some of these guys like one shift in our world in 04, 05.
Yeah,
they wouldn't be able to write anymore. They'd be so scrambled they wouldn't be able to be a keyboard warrior, which would suit me just fine.
I hear you, brother. I couldn't have said it any better than that. Cheers to that. Now, I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit here, brother,
no
okay?
No problem.
You're on the hot seat. So now listen, these are subjects that, man, I really want to go through. I'm gonna list them here, okay? And then I'm gonna give you my point.
Is this a rapid fire, or do you want detailed answers?
Oh, no. Just hear me out. Just hear me out.
All right,
now, the signing with Bridgeport, which led to the signing with the Islanders, your time with the Islanders, the KHL, when you come back from the KHL. Well, first of all, I know the KHL is, man, there's some juicy stories about spas and everything, buddy, that I'm going to get out of you for the KHL.
I got treated better there than I have anywhere, man. I mean, that we'll get into that later, but
yeah.
Then
Yeah, and then Trevor, then after that, there's the whole South Carolina time, okay? And then there's
Love it
everything,
there.
there's everything that's going on now. Now, here's my question to you, bro, okay? Can we do a part 2 with the Trevor Gillies, bro?
We can do as many as you want.
Okay, brother, you have
Yeah.
no idea how much I'm loving this because
Yeah,
I'm telling
yeah.
you
We don't
right
need
now.
a rush. We don't need a rush. Like fuck.
No, but I'm telling you right now, brother.
Because I
there-
want to talk to you.
you're
I'm gonna.
so-
I want to interview you a bit too, bro. I
No,
gotta do a little
I-
fucking homework.
I
And
hear you, brother.
I know a lot more about you than you think.
Okay, great. So we're gonna add that to the part 2 as well, Trevor. But I have to end the part 1 here, bro, because
Okay.
the part 2 is gonna be the exact same length as the part 1, bro. Okay,
But
so
what
brother,
if we get it to part 3 and 4? You don't know.
dude,
We might
I'm
make it epic.
absolutely loving
Because I'm
this,
having
bro.
fun.
Dude, hey man, I'm loving this. I'm loving this. We're gonna do this in the next couple days. Can we make
I'm
that
probably
happen?
gonna sound like a moron because I've had a couple cocktails, but I feel like I'm pretty sharp for 43.
Buddy,
Ready to
you're
rock.
unreal, buddy. You're unreal, man. So listen, brother. Okay, so I'm glad that we got that established because part 1, buddy, I've been on the edge of my seat, bro, listening to these stories, the insights. I got someone in my era that could actually tell the story how it was. I want to thank you, bro, for these stories. And I also want to thank our listeners for tuning in to another episode of The Sheriff featuring
Yes.
part 1, Trevor Gillies. Man, these stories are unreal.
Next time I'll have a bottle of bourbon and we'll have way better stories.
Oh, I can't wait. Listeners, you've heard that. So we're going to sign off here, fellas. Woo!